Good morning. Good morning. So, I don't know if this is going to relate for you or not, but a couple of years ago, I was in a Bible study. And in this Bible study, I was just like talking about a situation in my marriage. And one of the ladies in the group said, Jen, you should look at this book. And at the time, I would have told you, like, our marriage was great. I didn't need a book. Like, everything was going really, really well. But I took her book and it sat on my bedside table for about 3 months. And then I opened the book and I got about 3 chapters in. And when I got to the third chapter, I really almost like closed the book and never opened it again. And something in God just kept bringing me back and back and back to this book. So finally, I get the book, I read past chapter 3, I get into chapter 4, and I get into the place where it starts to talk about sex in the marriage. And it completely opened my eyes to intimacy and sex and just like what it meant for my husband and what it meant for me. And I really spent a lot of soul searching time of just in our marriage, when we've been married for 20 years now, and in the beginning of our marriage, the number one thing that we would fight about is the lack of sex in our marriage and the lack of like intimacy in our marriage. And I read this book and it definitely triggered me in a lot of ways. And I always tell people in all of my book clubs, when you get triggered, that's good. That's God working in your heart, right? And so I spent a lot of time soul searching and just like digging deeper within my soul and like why these things were triggering for me and what was it bringing up and what did it mean. And I went from using sex as like something on my checklist that I had to just get done to completely changing it. And sex became something that like I enjoyed. And I talk about this all the time, but I am a firm believer. And like the act of sex is like amazing, but I love the time after sex. And it's like that 3 to 5 minute window where we don't talk. We just like sit and marinate and enjoy in the feeling of good. We incorporated that after this book, and it was amazing. One of the other things that I incorporated just recently in the last 8 months in my growing time is, I used to 2 years ago, I would wake up in the morning and I would wake up at some god awful hour of like 3:30 or 4, and I would come downstairs and I would play on my little card platform game Canasta, and I would do that until people woke up. And even then I would sometimes still play when people were awake. And I completely changed that about 8 months ago to where now I wake up in the morning and I meditate. And I don't just meditate, I go live and I meditate because that's something God puts on my heart. It's not for everybody, that's cool. But I do my meditation, and then after my meditation, I recently started just going upstairs, taking all my clothes off, and I go climb into bed with my husband, and I just lay on his chest, and I just like meditate more. And I lay, when I'm next to him and my body is with him, it's a feeling of good. And I would say that for 19 years of our marriage, I didn't have that same feeling. Like, he felt good to be around. It wasn't repulsive, but my body now, like, it's like batteries where like they want to go together, right? Like it wants that connection. It feels so good to my soul to be next to him. And in my time of just trying to do more things that make my body say yes, that's one of the things that has made my body say yes. So in my journey in this last 2 years, and really specifically this last 8 months, of just how I've really changed who I am and how I see things, and how it's blossomed our marriage, is something that God keeps asking me. And especially this morning, I was laying on my husband's chest and I was just enjoying it, and God spoke to me and he said, Jen, how many of your friends feel this good about their marriage? Like, how many of your friends are laying naked next to their husband right now and like enjoying spending that time together? Like, how many marriages like really, really like intrinsically enjoy spending time together versus like we have kids and we just have to like get all this stuff done together, And my heart told me that, there are some, but there's not a lot. And so this book changed my life. And it was little steps that I had to do because my husband loves me very, very well. But I think a lot for me is that I didn't allow myself to receive. And, you know, when my husband would come on to me, I like viewed it as something, and I was like, no, I don't have time for this. So I would like push it away. And I have learned to come into this space of like receiving it and welcoming it. And I have found how much I enjoy it and how much my body likes it and how much better I feel. And I'm just so very grateful for the friend who was vulnerable enough to ask me in Bible study and to share this with me. And I feel like I need to do the same for the people who follow me and who watch me, and to say, like, maybe this is what you need to. And, you know, my number one question that I would always get asked in book club, because the majority of the women that reading it are women, right, is, well, it's great that I'm doing this, but when will my husband do it too? And I firmly believe that it's a two-way street, but I think it always needs someone to start. And someone has to be the first one making the step into making the change. And for me, that was my husband. My husband always loved me really, really well, and I wasn't the great person at it. And he just kept persisting, and somebody spoke light and truth into me, and it changed me. So may I be the one that helps change you and helps ignite things in your marriage. If you need somebody to connect with and you want to do one-on-one time, or you want to chat, I am always here for it. And being somebody who's a life doula, it's really, I generally meet people when they get pregnant, and then I help them through life. And, you know, pregnancy is the igniter of change in our relationships and in who we are as people. And it's just such a powerful experience. And I love how it just changes the trajectory of our whole lives. And I love coming alongside people and kind of helping them through that. So I'd love to connect. If this resonates with you, drop a comment below. If you're reading this, I would love to hear about how this has changed your life or what it's bringing up for you, because let's talk about it. And really, if you're having really strong things, I highly, 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 highly recommend taking it to God, having God work in your heart, having God work in your partner's heart, because I fully believe in the power of prayer and I've seen it work. So have a wonderful day. God bless.